Hi everyone, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. This is Love Apparel, and in today's video I'll be drafting how to cut your top and your trousers. So if this is what you're interested in, definitely want to keep on watching, and if you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please subscribe and let's get started with this video. I'm using this beautiful African print for my drafting, so I've gone ahead to fold into two. I came out with 1.5 inches for my band. From my waistline, I mark my hip line. I came down by 9 inches to mark my hip line. I divide my hip by 4, then add 1.5 to it and mark my cross line. I came down with 2 inches from my cross line to mark my towel line. So I came in with 1.5 inches to cover my hip. I connect it back to my hip line. I divide my hip by 4 and mark plus 1.5 inch seam allowance. I connect my lines from my hip to my crotch back to my waistline. I connect it. I measure what I have there and divide it into 4 and mark it on my crotch line, which gives me 2.5 inches. I divide my waist by 4 and mark plus 1.5 inches. I connect my lines. I divide my thigh by 2 and mark. So I came out with 1 inches to curve my cross curve. Then I connect it all the way to the marked line and to the length of my trouser. So I use my long ruler to connect it to the length of my trouser. I came down from my waist, I came down with 1 inches from my waist slope. I cut it off. So here I'm cutting it off, both the excesses. Here is our trouser, the front pattern. So I'll go ahead and fold and place it on another fabric to mark and cut our back pattern, which I have done so. So our back pattern is 2 inches higher than our front pattern at the hip line. So I connect it to the waist. I came out with 2 inches at my cuff, at my cross line, and connect it back. Then I added my seam allowance on the back pattern, and I connect the allowance all the way to the length of my trouser. Sorry, I'm used to free hand, that's why I couldn't use the ruler. So I went ahead to cut it off. The back is just these two different. This is what we needed at the back: the hip, the waist, and the crotch lines. So here I'm done with our back pattern. So we'll go ahead and fold and mark for our top. Fold my fabric into 2. Here I'm marking out 2 inches for my buttons allowance. So from my button, I mark my shoulder. Remember, my 2 allowance is not included, so I mark my shoulder. I mark my shoulder to chest line. I mark my shoulder to under bust. I mark my shoulder to half length, and the length of my top. I connect and mark my shoulder slope. I divide my bust by 4 and mark plus 2 inches seam allowance. At my round under bust, I divide my round bust by 4 and mark plus my 2 seam allowance. At my hip line, I divide my hip by 4 and mark plus my 2-inch seam allowance. So I connect all my lines. For my neck width, I mark 3 inches. The button not inclusive, that's why it was 5. I mark 3 inches width and 3 inches depth. So I come out with 1 inches to curve my neckline. I came out with 1 inches to mark my shoulder slope. So you cut on the lines. So I'm gonna head to cut it and fold and place to mark my back. So pattern, my neck width is 1.5. My neck depth is 1.5. So this back have a half cut. So here I'm marking the half cut. Is 6 inches half cut. It and make sure I get it. So I opened it to mark the half cut to get the correct measurement, which is what I'm doing here. So this half cut, I will cut it off from the back shirt to rejoin it when sewing it. So let's go ahead and cut for our shirt. So here I've cut our shirt, the back and front pattern, as you can see. So I'll remove the front pattern and cut the half cut. This half cut, I will cut it into 2. When joining it back, it will be into 2, which so this is it for our back pattern. Here I want to mark our collar. So I came down with I came down with 2 inches and mark my collar stand. Of course, the length of my collar is 9, so I made it 9.5 plus my sewing allowance. So I curved the 9.5. I came out with 3 inches for the collar itself and curve it to the collar stand. I came out here with 3.5. Here I came out with 3 inches because including my seam allowance. Well, the 3.5 or 3 inches is not compulsory. You can make it 2.5 and 2 inches, but I want this collar to be bold. That's why I make it 3.5 and 3 inches. So here I'm cutting it off, and this collar we need 2 of it. You have to cut 2 collars because one has to be the lining. Cut the collar stand. For here I placed it to cut the lining. So I cut the collar stand. I cut the collar. I'll go ahead and use paper stay when sewing it to paper stay one and join it very well. Here I want to cut our sleeve. So this is the length of my sleeve. So I just want to quickly use a free hand to cut it. So this is the length of my sleeve. I came out with 2 inches and curve it back. The width rather is 9.5. The length is 13 inches. I mark it and connect the lines. So I fold to mark my second sleeve, which I did here, and I notched it. So here is the front pocket. The pocket is so on my top, so you can choose the size of your pocket. I just cut for the both pockets. So please, if you are still yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, share, comment on this video. Thank you for watching. For my returning subscribers, for my new subscribers, you guys are welcome. Thank you.